I represent from midnight to high noon.
Take me to the floor, I gotta see how people move. Go to the sea. Let me take. What's up, everybody? It's Tim Heinings Vinyl, your friendly neighborhood vinyl guy, back again. Man, it has been killer hot. I live here in Central Florida, and I swear it's been hotter than Hades. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, been trying to beat the heat. Took a couple weeks off, partially because the heat's been zapping me. Work has been keeping me busy. Haven't been sleeping well. That's another story for another day. But you know what? Got a stack here, and then I got a channel announcement here for what we're going to be doing in the weeks to come, or at least a few weeks at the end. So stay tuned. So let's get into some recent spins and some recent pickups. So this one, Yngwie Malmsteen. I don't know why people have a problem saying Yngwie Malmsteen, Yngwie Malmsteen, Yngwie Malmsteen, Yngwie Malmsteen, but it's Yngwie Malmsteen. I picked this one up not too long ago, and I was mad at myself because kids, check your records before you go, and it was the right record, but this one was really priced to move, and I didn't think about it, and it had a mark on it. So I was wondering whether or not I was going to keep it, and that's why it's not in a MoFi style sleeve, because I did clean it and I played it, and it's okay. I do need to upgrade it at some point, but at least it scratches the itch for me. Makes a couple of tick marks, but tick sounds, but I can get through it. And then the other one that I've had sitting around for quite some time that we can call in the no shit. Even though I knew I had it, I wouldn't really call it a no shit truly. But I finally got around to cleaning and spinning it. And that's Edie Brickell and New Bohemians, Shooting Rubber Bands at the Stars. Not only is this such a good album, this is an original press, and for the time period, it was pressed pretty well. Sounds bright. I don't have a lot of muffled issue. It didn't feel like it was an afterthought, even though this is a longer album. It sounded really good, and I was happy to give that one a spin. U2's Rattle and Hum. I am working on trying to fill my U2 collection. I know some people could take or leave this band. That's your opinion. My opinion is I absolutely enjoy them. I think they have more hits than misses for me. But this was one of those albums that I kind of wish it was done a little differently. I understand why they did it the way they did it, because it follows the flow of the movie, the movie documentary Rattle and Hum, going on tour, but incorporating some new music in it with it as well. I just wish it was all the studio tracks and then all of the live tracks, because I feel like the way that they blend them together, and I get it, it's supposed to be a cohesive unit. I get the crowd in bleeding into a studio track, and it just it's weird to me. That being said, I absolutely love some of the songs on this one. Obviously, even off of this, they had some big hits with like Desire and All I Want Is You and stuff. So another great addition to the U2 collection. Dana Dane with Fame. So Dana Dane was kind of I won't say a Ricky MC, Ricky D, Slick Rick, depending on how you know him, copy, but he sounded really darn close to him. He imitated that kind of like British sound. His biggest song was the Cinderella Dana Dame, which kind of does a rap story of the Cinderella version. But it's a fun album. Profile Records. This would have been in that fun for the sake of fun hip hop. Not lyrically, it's not going to set anybody ablaze, but it's still a fun album, and I'm glad to add it to the hip hop collection. Till Tuesday. Amy Mann. Enough said, right? This one was definitely one that I had back in the 80s and spun the hell out of it. So needed a copy on wax and scored it for some pretty good price. So was glad to pick it up. Definitely brought back some memories playing it. Absolutely enjoyed it. So what you heard at the top was a band that I discovered. Me personally, I discovered. Nobody else knew of them ever. I was the reason they broke. I ran across their music on Instagram. So I was just kind of going through, and their videos were interesting because it was a lot of them busking or playing in small clubs. And they're a three-piece from Scotland, very funky, very rocky. They can play. They incorporate both of those genres very well. And I'm gonna give you a couple of sample cuts off both these albums, and that's High Fade. So, like I said, three-piece out of Scotland, just incredible stuff. This is their new 2026 album, Twice as High. They are. You can hear, at least especially in some of the songs, some Red Hot Chili, like earlier Red Hot Chili Peppers influence, where it was more funk metal based. But there is also true R&B. There's some blues and jazz in here as well. I mean, I could have played the full albums of both of these, to be perfectly honest, and to get you to fall in love with these guys. Definitely worth going to check them out. I believe on Instagram that they're coded as High Fade Music. Ton of followers. They're actually touring the U.S. right now, kind of in that old independent way, right? You know, a couple of vans, a couple of buses, and out they go. They're just experiencing the U.S. in their way, which is absolutely fantastic. I think they're coming to Orlando soon. I gotta look them up because if they are, I want to try to go see them. But here's a couple more cuts from both of these albums. Worthy of checking them out. If you want to order them, definitely have to go to their website. They don't have a major label. They're very independent. I don't even think they have a Bandcamp page, but worth picking them up. Like I said, I knew this one had come out. This one was getting harder and harder to find, and I did another run of it. So when I was able to, I went ahead and pulled the trigger on both to pick them up. But here's a little bit more from High Fade to check them out.
I'm jaded, my soul's persuaded. Like a house in the sky, I ain't got no roof. I ain't gotta have a reason to lie, that's true. Hold me up, someone say get lost up with our
So for Father's Day, I got a gift certificate to one of my favorite places, and that was Foundation. So I was left unattended to my own devices to go in there and picked up a couple of things that they had sitting in the bins. This is the EP from The Nails. This is I think it's a Canadian press. I know it was pressed in Canada, but I don't know if it was released in Canada as well. But you get it's on City Beat. You get those really cool labels. This would have been before they were signed to RCA on their debut. So you get Hotel for Women, Cutting Edge, and then 88 Lines About 44 Women, which is one of their bigger songs off of their album. This is the more independent release, a little bit more raw. I've heard both that version and the one on their album and love them both, but it's just a fun song. So I wanted to get this. I'm still looking for their RCA album, but you know, pick up what you can. And then they had recently gotten in yet another. They get really good drops with a lot of like German krautrock or ambient music. So I ended up picking up 3 from Edgar Froese. I always butcher his name, from Tangerine Dream. So I picked up Stuntman. That's on the Virgin label. I believe this one's a U.S. press. Yeah, this is a U.S. press. This one I was familiar with. I've heard this album a bunch, so I was glad to pick that one up. And then pretty sure I had streamed Aqua at some point, but I picked that one up as well. And that one's on the Black Brain label. This one is a German press. A little bit of discoloration on the back, but that don't bother me none. And I got it at a great price. And then I got Ipsilon and Malaysian Pale also on the Brain label. So added more, started my Edgar Froese collection, but to kind of go inside, correlate with my Tangerine Dream collection. I know like Bill is a big fan of Tangerine Dream and Edgar Froese. Where should I go next? What Edgar album should I be on the look for? Another minty add to the Billy Joel collection. This is My Life. In the Shrink, or My Life, Jesus, 52nd Street, with My Life on the hype sticker, but it's super minty clean. The one I had was not, so that'll get given away to some kid that needs it. New Order. I can never find New Order unless it's astronomical. Even beat up around here, it seems to sell pretty high. But I got this one off of a Facebook seller. Actually, I think I've talked about them before, and I'm going to try to leave a link to their group page on Facebook. It's just Flippin' Records. There's Ed, who is kind of like one of the curators there, and he kind of is the lead organizer. He used to have Record Store. He used to... he's been selling records for decades and decades, and I tend to watch his show pretty frequently, and I'm a frequent, reliever of money for goods with Ed. So he's a top-notch guy, and he got this one for a killer price. So Ed, if you're watching, congratulations on selling the house. Send me all your hip hop. I'll just take it so you don't have to deal with it. So I think the rest of these actually all came from Ed and a couple of big hitters. I am after a full run of OG presses of the Smiths studio albums, the reissues as far as the best ofs and the comps and stuff like that. Those don't matter to me as much as OGs. So I have 2 Brazilian OGs for 2 of the albums. The other 2, Smiths and Meet His Murder, I'm still looking for. And it doesn't have to be Brazilian. It just so happens that I have Brazilian of the other 2. But like this, for example, this one, Hateful Hollow, this is a reissue of the comp that came out back then, which was alternate versions that were done in the John Peel sessions and stuff like that. And to me, I don't need original presses of those. This sounds fine, but this is also a pretty lengthy 1 LP. So having a reissue, I think they punch it up a little bit. I don't know if it actually was remastered, but again, sounds fantastic. It's great listen. I love the Smiths. I know Morrissey's a dick. Wanker Central, as Mazzy would call him, but back then the Smiths were just awesome. I don't know why an OG of this eluded me. It's not like it's like a grail or even terribly expensive. I just could never find one. And Ed put one of these up sealed. It's the Rhino reissue. It's for Rocktober, and it's Shabu Shuba. It's probably got one of my favorite songs from INXS on here, which is Don't Change. It's also got The One Thing, which is another one of my favorite songs. So to me, it's hard to say that they had a bad album. They just to me, In Excess with Michael Hutchence was always an enjoyable listen. This one, I think, is right when they start to get into that pop rock sweet spot, right? Because after this, you had Listen Like Thieves and Kick and X. So this was just kind of like just on the outside looking in, and you could hear that formula that they had managed to crack in things like The One Thing and Don't Change, where it was pop, it was dance. You could have a good time to it, but it was still that sensibility of them and who they were. It just made it a very unique sound. So I've been trying to add more and more to In Excess, and definitely have been succeeding. These last two are definitely special ones that been after for a minute, and was lucky to get them both. And Ed, I got to thank you for both of these. This first one, I think everybody knows the name Mary Clayton. She is that incredible voice on the Rolling Stones' Give Me Shelter. This was her, I don't know if it was debut album. Might have been, because it would have been right after Give Me Shelter came out, because this is, I think it's 1971. But it's, as you can see, the cover is not in the best of shape, but vinyl's VG Plus, a couple of, ticks and pops, but nothing that distracts you. And man, is her voice so damn good on this one. Comes through so clean, funk, rock, soul, takes you to church on every track. Her voice is just impeccable. So there's a lot of covers on here. Like I said, obviously we all know her voice from Give Me Shelter. What I would suggest is the one that that everybody should check out is her version of Bridge Over Troubled Water. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And then lastly, this was a fusion album I have been looking for a while, and it's been reissued. I've toyed with, do I want to reissue? I know Music on Vinyl put it out. But then, I've gone after it a few times on online and have missed or whatever. Ed put one up, and this was by far one of the cleanest, and it's an original press that I have ever seen, and that's the self-titled from Jaco Pastorius. What an incredible album! This to me is a masterclass of fusion. Absolutely incredible album. If you've never heard it, I suggest you do. The people on this, you've got Herbie Hancock is playing all through this album. You've got let's see, I know Sam and Dave did some vocals on one track. Trying to think, is there? Let's see, Lenny White's on drums on a track. Don Alias plays congas. Just an incredible album. And then you have the song Portrait of Tracy, which is just Jaco. Just forget it. This album really shows you why he is one of the masters of the bass guitar, and really just put its own life into that instrument. So was super duper happy to pick that one up. So that's all I got to show right now, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what's coming up. So I have a couple of ranking videos I'm trying to get together, and I know I've talked about those in the past, but and I don't know if you can see them right there. And then there's another stack right there. Those are 45s. It's been almost 3 years since the last episode of the Tim Singles collection, but it's coming back. And I've got 3, maybe 4 episodes, maybe more. So that's what the next few episodes are going to be, is going to be my kind of return to my singles project. I've picked up some collections, and nothing like is incredibly noteworthy, but some gems in there. But I have also picked up a couple of highly wanted grails as well along the way. So going to start those off here in the next few days. That's going to carry us through July and possibly into August. I just feel like it's a good time to get back to that project. I've got so many singles that I think I are worth showing. Some forgotten gems, and in one collection, some of the most unique picture sleeves I think I've ever seen. So I will say this: that if you're a fan of Engelbert Humperdinck picture sleeves, boy, I can make you drool. But those really didn't speak to me. But there were some that I was like, that's a keeper. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's been a long time. I think that there are some people out here who find a lot of enjoyment in the picture sleeves and the 7-inch singles and just singles in general. So and I've had some new life back into the channel again. So what a great way to kind of welcome some of you back. I did create a playlist of all the old episodes. It may be out of order. I do apologize for that, but at least if you can look at my channel on the playlist section, if you're curious to see some of the old singles that I shared, have at. With that, I'm going to stay outside, stay from anywhere from outside. It is well too hot. It's to the point where our air conditioner isn't even keeping up. So I'm staying in. I'm going to go get me a nice cold beverage and beat the heat. So hopefully you all are staying cool as well. Looking forward to seeing you all soon, where we're going to resurrect the 7-inch singles project. Love you all. Peace.